We should be live on Facebook, and this is your host, Tyson Banning, and this is the Healing Hour, and I'm with you for the next hour. And hopefully you'll join me. There's 3 ways you can join me. You can click the link, which is a Zoom link, and join the conversation that way. You can phone toll free 1-866-369-7464. And you can also leave your comments wherever you find the show, and we'll try and answer them there. So we're just going to start the show now, and we have Merlinda Arnold, who is our guest, and we're going to bring her on board right now. So we're going to promote her. So today we're talking about opening the heart.
Yes.
Yeah, so that sounds like a good thing to do. And we're talking about what does your ancestors have to tell you anyway, if anything. So that's pretty neat. And so if you're just tuning into the show, we are live on Facebook. There's 3 ways that you can join us. I'm Tyson Banning, the Illuminator, bringing you and humanity into the light. You can phone in toll free 1-866-369-7464. And I guess we better take my phone and make it active. Take it off airplane mode. Okay, so that you can phone in. That's 1-866-dowsing or 1-866-369-7464 to join us. And if you can find the show link wherever it's posted, you will be able to find the Zoom link as well. So let me just see if I can find the Zoom link quickly here, which would be the invite button. Is it down below? Of course it's not, because that would be way too easy to do. Anyway, you'll find the Zoom link, and it will give you the numbers to click to join. Merlinda, do you happen to have the Zoom link in front of you that you click?
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's the first caller. All right, welcome to the show. Can you hear me? Just a minute here. I'm going to try and put you on speaker. I might have a new phone here, so let's see if we can figure out how to do this. All right. So who are we talking to?
My name is Jack. I was on some time ago.
Hi, Jack. And how are you and your son?
Yeah. He's doing good. Thank you for remembering.
Yeah, you haven't been on the show for months, so welcome back to the show. So today we're talking about opening your heart, and if what do your ancestors have to tell you, if anything anyway. And we have our guest here, Merlinda Arnold, who's on the show. So is any of that relate to you?
Sure, I'm open to that.
You're open to that. How open's the heart?
The heart is open. Yeah. So what, you got a message for me or what?
That's a good question. Do you have a message for him, Merlinda?
Well, not necessarily, but basically, I look at ancestry. I look at patterns and behaviors in one's ancestry, and the ones that you want to keep, we embellish, and then we do an ancient healing process called the Sa-Ra technique, which comes from ancient Egypt that I was gifted with manuscripts. But the ones that you want to transform are the ones that come down the line that you may want. So do you have a pattern that you would like to transform?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of them.
What's one that comes to mind, Jack?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Is that the I don't know pattern?
That pattern who wants to know so much. I'm forever, learning different things or a new slant on things. So I guess my inquisitiveness. I don't know if that's a good or a bad. Well, it can be a good thing, but maybe it could be a bad thing. I don't know.
And what's that?
Being inquisitive.
Being inquisitive.
Okay.
All right.
So are you saying that's a pattern that that your ancestors, like your father, your mother, your grandparents, or one of those have passed down to you?
Oh, I don't know that. I mean, my, I was really small when I lost my dad, so I don't know. So I mean, if you guys are psychic, see if you pick it up in the energy in the field. Can you read the field to find out for me?
I'm not sure what you want to find out.
Yeah, I can see where being inquisitive can be both. You said they can be positive and negative. So tell us some experience you've had in the negative. You mean you're so inquisitive that you're always looking for another answer and can't settle on something to get it done, or tell me more.
No, just a new slant on things. So I mean, like Vincent said, I've learned lots of different things in modalities, healing, and that's been good because when you're working with someone and they don't respond to one particular one, I can change to another one, another protocol or different method.
Right.
So I like that part, but and I read a book, like an excerpt of the book, and I say, wow, I'd like to have that book, or I want that program. Like right now, I'm thinking about a program to buy, and it's about $1,000. So I'm not. So wow, should I do this or not? So I'm not really certain about that.
Ah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll just say what's coming for me and what I'm trying to learn is to learn that the answers are not so much in the book, it's in my guidance. And if I can still myself and not buy another bright, shiny object of somebody telling me what I should know or shouldn't know, or how to do or not to do, or what, whether I should be standing on my head gargling peanut butter or whatever the latest fashion is. And if I go and sit in silence and get guidance, that's exactly what I need to know. But this comes from a guy who's addicted, and Merlinda will know that I'm surrounded by books. I got books everywhere, upstairs, downstairs. So, I'm a book guy, but I'm learning that.
I'm just like you, though.
Yeah, you're just like me. But I'm beginning to learn that while the book really doesn't do it for me anymore, although I must say I'm reading some awesome books right now, the real thing that I need to know is in my guidance. So So I'm letting go of an addiction in order to be still enough to be guided. So anyway, that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, actually, I'm more or less doing that too. Have you ever heard of a program called Free Soul?
No, but I like the title.
Pete Sanders, who's out of Arizona, and they have it's called Free Soul. And they teach you find out what you are, whether you're clairvoyant. We all of those, but which is your strongest one?
Right.
Clairvoyant, clairaudient, prophecy. What was the other one? All the clairs.
All the clairs. Yeah. Yeah.
Clairvoyant. So what are you? Which one are you number one in? Which is number two?
So
developing the ones that you're strong in even more to hear and connect with your guidance, because the guidance is right there.
Yeah.
Be able to connect in, tune in with them.
So what is it that you really like to do? What is your passion?
Oh, my passion is teaching and learning and teaching, and that's my passion. In fact, one of the I think it's clairvoyant, one of it on the Free Soul. It says love to read, and I do. I'm reading a lot. I have books galore. I've been watching lot of the videos from the different healers and stuff like that. And recycling back around, actually, I came across Free Soul in 2001, and they have a profile that they do for you to tell you what your guidance is, is your strongest voyance, So I'm a clear-audit and clear voyance. And I just kind of, another thing, I call people and they say, well, how'd you know I need you, or something like that? So, well, I didn't know. I just called,
So what would you like to do with that gift that you have?
I guess develop it more. Actually, in fact, they have this technique of cleaning your aura, so your guidance can come in.
Right.
Even more so. So I just got back to reacquainted with that technique so that I can keep the aura clear or, clean it up.
And how do you like doing that? Do you do it on yourself? Do you use crystals, intention?
Yeah, on myself. And I like helping people too whenever there's an opportunity that shows up. I'm able to use the skill. Yeah. So, in fact, I was with some kids back to school, and one kid hurt himself, and so I just read something about just taking your hand and brush it off, So I said, hey, just take your hand and do like this and brush it away. And he did it, and he said, hey, that worked.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I have a friend who used to do something like that. He'd say, okay, you tell him a problem. He said, well, you're finished with that? Is there anything else you want to tell me about that problem? And you go on and you say, okay, now give it to me. Just put it in my hand. And so he'd give him the problem in the hand and he'd just throw it over his shoulder. He said, done, finished.
Right.
Yeah, because it's all energy and being able to do that. It's really great.
All right. So I think I have one, Merlinda. I think, one that I've been working on that, I think I'm down the path somewhat, and it is not good enough. And I know that it comes, I know my father had that problem. I know my mother had my problem. My sister had that problem. And I know even my adopted brother and sister had that problem. And I suspect that some ancestors I know probably had that problem too. So there's one for you.
Okay, so it's an issue that you would like to transform. It's all energy.
Yeah, it's all energy.
Patterns are all energy that we, Rupert Sheldrake talks about morphic resonance, and it creates a groove. Like you said, your grandfather, possibly your father, has not good enough. You have not good enough. Your mother, your sister, so it's a groove, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, so with the groove, it's something that you'd like to transform. What would you like to transform it into?
Oh, that I'm good enough to do anything that I want to do.
Right. Right. So one of the things that I do is to help you shift that and get into that place through the heart. And through the heart, I mean, by doing, I developed this ancient healing practice called the Sa-Ra technique. And so I work with you over your heart with cranial sacrum and a lot of energy work to transform that thought form into what you want, which is, I am good enough. So one of your mantras can be, every time that comes up, you can actually develop a mantra that fits you, like, I am good enough. And you can take your hand I actually do a an ancient, I actually do this thing from Egypt, and it's with an ankh, and I use it on my hand, and so I create an ankh, and I go Sa, Sekhem, Sahu. Sa, Sekhem, Sahu.
So maybe you can describe what you're doing, because this will go out as a podcast as well, so people don't know what you're doing. So could you describe what you're doing?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's an ankh on my hand. And so I make an ankh. So I make the loop and I say Sa. And
That's
then
in
I
the
go
center of your hand, right?
Sa, yes, Sekhem, Sahu. And what that means, and it's really an early Sumerian chant. And what it means is, I see the light in you. I see the light in you. And so you can do that to yourself with the hand,
Yeah.
and you can put it on your heart, and you can say, Sa, Sekhem, Sahu on your heart. Let's see, on your heart.
Yeah.
And remind yourself every time you are in that pattern of, oh God, I'm just not good enough. I'm not doing the podcast as good as I could, or I'm, too busy, or whatever it is. You just do this Sa,
Yeah.
Sekhem,
So
Sa.
just so you know what she's doing the eye of the ankh on the center of her hand, and then she's doing the downstroke, which is beneath, and then she's doing the crossbar.
Right. Oh, they can't see me.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what she's
doing?
doing. So she's drawing it on her hand, and we're just explaining for those on the podcast or on the telephone that can't see it, what we're doing. So this is bringing ancient technology, the vibration of working with the Egyptian lineage, and bringing that into the present moment. Is that correct, Merlinda?
Yes, that's very correct. Yes, it's one of the oldest known chants. Actually, I learned it through Jean Houston. I was on her board, and her husband, Robert Masters, was the one who taught me this years ago. He was a very good friend of Om Seti, and that, I ended up with her manuscripts. So yeah, it's a beautiful chant, very simple. Sa, Sekhem, Sahu.
So maybe you can explain that. What are the different aspects of that? And maybe also you
Yes.
could type it into the chat so that we can make sure that's in the show notes so everybody can have it.
Oh, so I hit chat. This is my first time on.
Yeah, just go down to it says chat and you can type it in there.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So maybe you can explain while you're typing, do two things at once.
Yeah. Sa is the feminine ancient glue that holds everything together, is the love, I would say. Sa.
Yeah.
Sekhem is, I see the light in you.
Right.
Okay. And then Sahu is you. It's your divine self. Sahu. It's like your spirit self, your Sahu, your Merkaba, I would say.
All right. So did you push enter? You have to push enter now.
Okay. Enter.
And there it is. All right. So the first word is Sa, and it's S-A, and Sekhem is S-E-K-H-E-M. And the third word is Sahu, and it's H-U. Great. It says, hi, no Facebook having issues with audio speaker. Please think linked in Facebook chat or phone number in, okay, so we'll do that. So the phone number for those that want to join me is 1-866-369. We're just going to put this in here. 7464. And we're going to say goodbye to Jack. We love you, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
Yeah, okay. I'm just listening.
Yeah, so you can listen through, we'll open the line up for somebody else, and you can listen to us on Zoom or join us on Zoom. How about that?
Oh, I'm driving, so that's okay.
No, but you could, okay. Yeah, you can phone in, but yeah.
That's okay. I'll drop the line.
All right. All right. Take care. Love to you, Jack, and your son.
You bet. Thanks.
All right. Bye for now. Okay, the line is now open. It's 1-866-369-7464. You can phone in, and I'm going to see if we can find the Zoom link and type it in there as well. Let's see here. We've been having trouble getting it onto Facebook Live today for some reason. I have no idea why the technology is not behaving itself, but
I think the number was 539-800-1602. I don't know. That's
yeah, I've got 736-28807.
736-288-807.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, and if you're listening to the show, I see Batista Drummond, Pat Hoffert. If you're listening to the show and want to join us, just put in that link. We'll put it in the comments here, so you can see the link here. And we'll also put in the toll-free number here as well. I'm here. It sounds like people are having trouble hearing us for some reason. 836-974-64. Sometimes technology just doesn't want to play, but that's okay. So that's the toll-free number, 1-866-369-7464. And we're live on Facebook, and Zoom link is in comments below the show and also in the comments describing the show. Unfortunately, we're not at the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, so if you're over there, please come back to Tyson Bannigan's homepage. So that's facebook.com Tyson, TYHSONBANIGHEN. That's where we're live. I couldn't get it to broadcast through the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, which is a bit of a bummer. So we'll type that in as well over here. So let me just see. I'm just going to copy that Zoom link, put it in the show notes in case people can see it there as well. I don't know if anybody can see the show notes. All right, so that's there as well. And so, yeah, so thank you for that. That's really quite amazing. So,
oh, the chant.
Yeah, the chant, the technique, and so it's really,
yes.
So let's talk about the Ankh for a moment. I mean, it's
yeah,
coming from the Rosicrucian organization. The Ankh is, it's run the master of the of the Rosicrucian wears an Ankh. All the practitioners wear an Ankh. All the mystic tools used an Ankh, and some say it's the key. It's the key to immortality. So
yeah, I believe it's a universal energy of love. The Ankh is. It was really pronounced in the 18th dynasty in Egypt under Akhenaten. He's the one. The Ankhs would come down from the central sun, which is Ra, and that light would energize you. It's also the combination of male and female coming together. It's the blending of all of that. So I would say universal energy of love. It's
right. So
what would you say?
You spell it ANKU?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, in the Rosicrucian temple, we would be, there would be the masculine on one side and the female, and then with the chant would be an opening. It would be Ra, and then the divine feminine would go Ma. that would be how it would be open.
That's great. Yeah. So the healing technique I put together is called the Sa Ra. And Sa again is the sound. Sa has power. And Ra, of course, has power. So when you do that intonation of Sa, it is the universal energy of what holds everything together in the universe and ourselves. Ra is the light. It's not just the sun, but it's the light.
And the divine masculine, right?
Absolutely, yes. And Sa is the feminine, yes.
So, yeah, so, and then there was another vibration which was for healing. Let's see if I can hit that one. I haven't done this for years. E. That was a healing vibration.
Oh, yeah.
So these are ancient techniques through the mystery schools, been passed down through from Akhenaten, which was brought the one belief of the one God to Egypt from the multi-god, multifaceted gods, and he was not very popular in that after he was, some believe he was assassinated,
Yes.
all of his cartouches were erased, and it went back to the belief in multi-gods. So,
well, the priests were very, very jealous of Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti, and so yes, it was a very, the general Horeb was the one that really annihilated Amara, which is the place that Akhenaten and his wife used in the desert in Egypt. Yeah, it's unfortunate because obviously they must have been doing something right to have been wiped out.
to have what?
To be wiped out like that with a lot of force and a lot of masculine, what we would call Set energy, which the god Set was the god of chaos and basically Horeb and the military were of the Set religion.
Right. I remember one cartouche, I don't know if I've got it right, but it's like the sun, and it has the rays coming down, but the rays, if I remember correctly, are full of Ankh. So it's like the raw energy, which is the divine masculine, or the sun, which is, by the way, it is also the stargate for our system. Our planetary system was
right.
The sun. So it is the Lord God, or the God energy from which we were birthed into this third dimensional reality. And then there's the Ankhs coming down on these rays of light, which is the divine love coming from the creator God, which is the sun for our, it's like a lesser God, but still our creator God for the third dimension that we live in. And then of course this raw God, or the sun God, is connected to the other, upper level gods of the creation of the galaxy and
Horus is the divine son of Isis and Osiris, and so Horus is really the new sun, the new rays of light.
Yeah, so interesting. It's S-O-N as sun, but it's also S-U-N as sun, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and very much a power representation of that time. In 18th dynasty in Egypt, which is around later Seti came in, but before that Ramsey, then Seti. So yeah, 18th dynasty, I believe, is around 12, probably 1600 BC at the most, 1500, something like that.
Well, the thing that's important about this is this, whether it's the Rosicrucians or even probably the Masons, although never been a Mason, I have been a Rosicrucian. The mystery schools all are traced back through Akhenaten to the beginning of that. And so when the persecution started to happen, it all went underground, which is what happened with the Knights Templar, with their
Yes.
persecution, with the Cathars, down through history. This has always been the hidden or the esoteric has always had to go underground in order to survive. And Akhenaten was at that time was really the beginning of the mystery schools. And then of course that came through Atlantis and Lemuria.
Yes, very much.
So welcome to the show. This is Tyson Banning on the Healing Hour, and thanks for phoning in. Who are we talking to?
Chris.
Chris. And
Tyson Joe.
Chris and Jill.
No, I said the Tyson Show.
The Tyson Show. This is the Healing Hour. Yeah, the Tyson Show. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was calling about some tree removal.
Well, there you are. Well, we're removing other things. We're helping people open their hearts. So we're not removing trees right now. But so get back to me, because I do want to know what you found out about those trees. I do love those trees, but I think that tree has to go. I think it's a bit dangerous. So we'll talk about that a little later. So hey, you happen to be on the show. So is there anything that you want to work on in opening your heart?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. That's okay. Love those trees. All right, we'll talk later. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
So that's my tree guy.
That's great.
So yeah, I'd rather hug a tree than cut it down, but we have one of the trees that's leaning and it looks like it's cracked at the lower part. And all the trees that I do have to cut down around our property here, I always give them a second life. They become part of my addition to my house. And my neighbor has a sawmill, so I'm very fortunate. You always choose your neighbors wisely. So my other neighbor had a sawmill and he's moved, and then the new neighbor that moved in has a sawmill that's right here. So what could be better than that? So all the trees that get cut here become part of my addition or become part of my fencing or my landscaping. So I always talk to the trees first and tell them what's going to happen to them.
Yeah, the tree of life. Unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. So the tree of life, the 10 Zephyroth, and then the upper divine feminine that's hidden. Yeah. So we're talking about Egypt, and we're talking about how to open your heart. And it's interesting that usually those that show up on this show aren't showing up. So maybe they've already got their heart open. Maybe they already got their ancestors talking to them. Who knows? But we are live until the top of the hour. This is Tyson Bannigan, the Illuminator, bringing you and humanity in the light. And my guest is Merlinda Arnold, and she is writing a book. And so let's talk a bit more about, and you can reach us, by the way, toll free, 1-866-369-7464, and have a conversation with us. And let's go back to the interesting story about how did you get hold of the material that you're now using to write your book? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it was all through synchronicity. It was amazing, Tyson. I was going, it was years ago, I was going to massage school, and this woman who was working on me, because you have to work on each other, she said, "Oh my God, I'm getting Egypt with me." And she goes, "You've got to read this book." So she holds up this book, and the name of the book is In Search of Om Seti. And so I go home. It's about an hour away in Connecticut. I lived in Connecticut, and my son wanted to go rent a video. So we went down to this video store, and I walk in, and Seti. And so I go home. It's about an hour away in Connecticut. I lived in Connecticut, and my son wanted to go rent a video. So we went down to this video store, and I walk in, and this man behind the counter says, "Oh my God, you've got to meet this Egyptian guy. You're so Egyptian." And so anyway, I wrote down this man's number and went back and started reading the book, In Search of Om Seti. And on page 52, down below, it had his name, this archaeologist, Walter Fairservice, and it said he has the unpublished manuscripts from Om Seti. This was in one day.
Wow. And so how do you spell Om Seti for those that want to look it up?
Ommsety. And it means mother of Seti.
And so tell us more about that. What does that mean?
Well, Seti is, he had Dorothy Eady was an English clairvoyant. That's Om Seti. She had a near-death experience at the age of 5, and started and was pronounced dead. And she ended up living, obviously, and this pharaoh came to her. And he was like a mummy, and she started remembering her time in the Temple of Seti in Abydos, Egypt, and so he started talking to her, and then she became quite an Egyptologist. She worked with a very renowned Egyptian Egyptologist. Anyway, but she had this love affair with Seti the First. So Seti was a pharaoh, like I mentioned earlier. His father was Ramses, and so Seti the First, and her name was in Egypt. She was a priestess in the temple of Isis in the Temple of Seti, and anyway, so she in this lifetime started showing archaeologists where to dig because she remembered everything. I mean, as far as I know, she's never been wrong, or she was never wrong. She's passed on now, but it's an amazing love story too, because his Ka body, this pharaoh, around 1245 BC, that was roughly the time of Seti the First. He came to her, and so the Ka body, as far as Egyptian mythology is your spirit body. And so the Ka, you have 2 Kas. One Ka is in your spirit right now, and another Ka, I believe, is what I call transversing the Milky Way. It's your higher spirit body. And when you open the seals to your heart, when you release the trauma that traps your heart, then those 2 Kas, body spirit and higher spirit, can come together, and then your Ba, which is your soul, can be understood. So it's really the Merkaba. If Mer is your heart's desire, Ka is your body spirit, and Ba is your soul.
So I don't know if I got all that right, but would you say then the call at the second level, higher spirit, and coming together with your lower spirit?
Your Ka body that's in your body right now, your spirit in this body, yeah.
So there's a Ka in your spirit now, or in your body now, right?
Right.
And then there's a Ka, which is a second higher, the one which, and then when you bring the 2 together, which some would say is Ascension, or bringing the 2 bodies
through the heart. Yeah, through the heart. Right.
And then I would think that is what we call immortality.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. I think that when we work on removing the trauma that traps the heart, then those Kas, those body spirit and higher spirit, your higher spirit, can come together through the open heart. And
yeah, that's pretty amazing. And so, I mean, they even made love, as you told me.
Yes. Yeah.
So all you people, there's sex after life, or life after death or sex after death or whatever. So we are immortal. And the beautiful thing about this is that past lives and this lifetime become one lifetime. There is no separation. And for her, that must have been an amazing experience to be living in this time period, but also having the experience of remembering the time previously, but experiencing the love of her life in this present time.
Right.
Amazing.
It is. And so many very, very intuitive people went and visited Om Seti, and that's in the book, In Search of Om Seti. And I think even, I'm trying to think of his name, the one who, Carl, the one who was the astrologer, and he named SETI the sound, the space things, SETI, Carl Sagan. He went, he went and talked to SETI as well. Actually, Jacqueline Onassis went and talked to her. A lot of very interesting people are in that book, and their take on her. She would be talking, and then she would also go into another altered state. Om Seti, yeah.
So she was sort of like a Delphi oracle or an oracle.
Yes, yeah. She was definitely had that mystical oracle powers. And so when I ended up with the manuscripts from the family, the archaeology family, Walter Fairservice and Jano, his wife, I was the one who was picked to be the psychic one, the one that would bring out the information that who she really was, and why it's important that people know that visitation from people who have passed over their ka bodies can still be seen. A lot of people have had many experiences, right, Tyson, of people, and their outline of their body after they die, and they come and talk to loved ones, these things that aren't in the traditional religious dogma that
I think even more exciting than that is, the more exciting than the life after life, which is really what we're talking about. Welcome to the Healing Hour. Who are we talking to? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, you're on the Healing Hour. Can you hear me? Oh, they hung up. All right, so yeah, I think the exciting thing for me is, yes, there's life after death, and there's multidimensional levels of reality, and that we can learn even now that all this can be experienced right here, right now. So I love the quote from T.S. Eliot that goes something like, time past and time present are time future are perhaps contained in time present. And so all time is eternally present.
Yes, very nice.
You're, we're at the stage where we can begin to access all of this, right? Our past lives can be experienced in this lifetime, and we can take all of the experience from all these different lifetimes and use them in this lifetime. At least this is what I'm beginning to experience. Very exciting. But it seems to me that what you're talking about embedded, and I don't know this for sure, but intuitively is that there's Ascension technology that she's bringing through or was working with that are in the documents that you're working on. Is that correct?
Yes, very much so, and definitely in code. She was the caretaker of the Seti temple and the Assyrian, which is probably the oldest, structure, I would say, in Egypt today. It's the sunken, it's a sunken sunken temple that is over a spring, and it's a major. That's where the flower of life
I was
is.
just going to say, and that's where the flower of life is. And that it looks like it had to be burnt in by laser technology that we're not even
Right.
necessarily aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Ascension codes, like you were saying, are very embedded in a lot of. She did a lot of deciphering in these manuscripts of the early pyramid texts and Zep-Tepi, which is the first time.
Yeah.
And there was an amnesia that prevailed. You know, people in Egypt, you know, they were mimickers really from the first time because they don't remember, you know, a lot of them, you know, would mimic what was in the pyramid text, but they don't really believe they knew what.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way that you put your hands like that because that's exactly what's going on.
Right.
I learned this when being in India is that through the mind control, and that was what the Cobra was here, is that you were allowed to rise to that level, but from there up was the intelligentsia or the pharaoh.
Yes.
And its connection to the extraterrestrials. The common people weren't allowed to have that. It was just what they weren't genetically ready. You know, it wasn't.
Right. Right.
But even now, they're everybody's dwelling down here, and this upper technology from the third eye to the crown, which is also connected to the heart,
Yes.
is hidden mystery that we're talking about, which are the keys and codes for only individually, but collectively and planetary. And really, this is what the mystery schools, the real mystery schools, were all about, was the marriage of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So this is what we're talking about. And
so the heart, exactly. And the heart in the ancient, in the judgment, was your heart had to be as light as a feather. The goddess Mot, which is the goddess of the scales, she was the goddess of truth and love.
Right.
She was the one who would weigh you with a feather. And if your heart was as light as that feather, then you would go to Amente, which is a place that has no animosity, no hatred, because, you know, your heart is as light as a feather. If not, then you would be eaten by the crocodile Sakbet, and you would come back and you would reincarnate. And so until you got it. So the heart for the Egyptians was the seat of your memory.
Yeah, it's a gateway. It's a gateway.
Yes, and your memory of who you really are and your capabilities.
Right. Very, very exciting. So you've been, I mean, for those that haven't been to Egypt, and you know, it's on my bucket list. I haven't been able to do it. My wife Sarah has done it. There, you know, there are chakra points along the Nile, and each one of those temples is an awakening of each chakra, which is part of what the ascension process was for the Egyptians as they went and did ritual or ceremony in each one of those. I understand that you've done tours there. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. And the Nile is really the replication of the Milky Way. So,
or another way of saying it is a Kundalini.
Your
spine. And as you travel by boat, you're literally going up the Kundalini, and you're initiating opening each one of the stargates, which are your chakras, right?
Yes. Right.
So if any are listening to this show and this sounds all exciting for you, guess what? We're going to actually do a tour together. I'm going to be brave enough and
yes.
It's going to be a small group of people that really want to learn these ascension technologies or want experience in their body. So if this is something that you are excited about, then get hold of us. And when we have a small group, we're going to actually go and do it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I would love to. And definitely spend time in Dendara and spend time in Abydos, which is just it's not that far from where the Nag Hammadi scrolls were found. Nag Hammadi is the next town over, and if you're in northern Abydos, it is as the crow flies to where they found those scrolls, is about 5 miles.
Wow.
So there's a lot in that whole, the Assyrian, the Nag Hammadi scrolls, which are the Gnostic scrolls, Dendara, which isn't that far up the Nile. Abydos is not on the Nile; it was on the old Nile, but right. But it's right against the Western Desert, that we call the Western Desert, and it's phenomenal. It really is. The chapels, the 7 chapels in the Temple of Seti, are amazing as well.
Yeah, that sounds like a very exciting time, and of course, the connection between Egypt and the Israelites, or what it means to be Jewish or Judah, and the 13 tribes and all that is all interconnected. It's an amazing story, and it's part of the ascension story for planet Earth. So, I mean, there's our individual ascension, but there's the movement of humanity as we raise our consciousness and we get to a certain point in a civilization, and then there's a certain group that can ascend in mass, so to speak, and then that civilization sort of comes to an end. That's what happened with the Mayans. It wasn't that they were poor agriculturalists or whatever. A lot of them actually ascended. They went to another dimension.
Yes.
This is our opportunity for the first time to do this planetary-wise, not civilization-wise, planetary-wise. And not only that, is we don't need to go anywhere. I mean, if you want to go to the 5th dimension on another planet called Gaia or whatever, you can. But you also could do it right here. You can be enlightened, full body enlightened right here, right now, which to me is really the ultimate goal, is to walk and talk in this dimension, fully connected to source consciousness. So we're near the top of the hour. We got 4 more minutes to go. If you were brave enough and quick enough, you could phone in 1-866-369-7464 and ask us a question, or maybe have an ancestral clearing, or whatever. Yeah, so this has been a wonderful opportunity to talk about this, and we're going to do a Christmas show. So what are we going to do on Christmas, the day before Christmas?
Yeah, I can't wait. That should be really good. The book should be done by then, and really talking about the star system Sirius too, and the early Egyptians, and Ursa Major, which was another major portal, and how we can actually access that through our open hearts and removing the trauma that settles in the heart.
So if you're listening to this and you want to do some preparatory works for the day before Christmas, when the whole thing is opening your heart for Christmas or for the new year, and you want to do some advanced work, you can get hold of Merlinda and do some clearing. So when that time comes up that we do the show, you're all ready for that and can get the maximum out of the show. So how do people get hold of you?
I have a phone number, I have a email, I have a website. So my email is Melinda, MELINDA .P.Arnold, and I can type that in.
Great.
And my phone number is 505-204-3480. And the website is Merlinda, MERLINDA, Arnold, all one word, .com.
Great. So just another announcement for those that have been to one of my masterminds and that I've held in the last 3 years. We are planning a gathering of the eagles, or a gathering of the souls, or however you want to describe it, in the Sacred Shoe Shop. So if you feel called to that and want to participate and come, it'll be in the early spring.
Yes.
We're teaching you how to connect with the landscape diva, how to open your heart. There'll be various healing techniques, including theta, access consciousness, opening your heart, taking back your personal power, standing in your truth, bar sessions, and all the rest. And I think we might have one more caller to squeeze in here from Los Angeles. Hello, this is Tyson Bannigan. This is the Healing Hour. You're live on the show, and how can we help you?
Hi, Tyson. It's Alia. How are you doing?
We're doing great. So
That's wonderful. I'm about on day 9 of your deep clearing protocol, and I just randomly hopped on to see what was going on with the show, and you guys just happened to be talking about, you know, ancient Egyptian connections to stuff, and you and I talked about my lineage and how I am of Egyptian blood, and I've been there throughout my life, and I feel very connected to the ancient Egyptians, specifically through the line of Nefertiti and Akhenaten. And I always feel some wonky energy going on this time of year, and it always feels connected to that time period.
yeah.
So I heard that you guys were doing an ancestral clearing, so I called.
All right. So it sounds a perfect time. So tell me a little bit more about the wonkiness that you feel at this time. It's a recurring pattern because it's coming up the same time every year. So what's going on?
Yeah. I feel as though a lot of the clearing work that I've been doing kept it much more at bay and manageable this year, but it's literally been a really swanky incident that's happened every year around this time. And I mean, a few years back, I without getting into too much detail, but it just felt like a very past life karmic situation that was playing out between all of my Greek friends, all of my separate Italian Roman friends, and then there was me and my Egyptians, and just a lot of crossover. And yeah.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that the recognizing the pattern of every year that this is occurring is really, really good. I mean, you're like 60 to 70% there to recognize it. What it feels to me like is that there was some killing, or there was some real devastation that happened to you during that time. And I would ask you to look. I would ask you to look at it.
Athena took the hit for me a couple years back around this time of year, and I found her hung. Precious cat. Yeah, and it was just this crazy situation that was leading up to it, and then all of these relationships of mine, like my boyfriend at the time was just very Roman-blooded, like had a premonition the night before that, hey, that roommate that's got your cat hostage, she's gonna kill her tomorrow. And I said, no, what? And then, yeah, that happened. And I mean, that was the darkest one, but that was very, very, I mean, I felt it to the bones, and I kept saying to all my healer friends, like, this is some weird past life karma playing out. And I kept saying, or I kept hearing her say to me, don't worry, I took the hit for you this time because you need to move forward and do your work.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm getting for what it's worth is you're the queen of the dark. And what I mean by that is if you were counting down the chakras going down instead of up, which is there's nothing wrong with it, you're going into the darker part of who we are. And I don't mean this in a scary way. It's just if you're the queen of the dark, then that means all of those beings that can be really horrific and scary, scare the bejesus out of you, are waiting for you to be their queen. They're waiting for you to stand in your power and say, I see you, I'm present, but I am of the light, and I am here as your queen. And I'm getting shivers, full Kundalini shivers when I say this. And all those beings will honor you because they all too feel somewhat trapped in the lower dimensions and are looking for you to be the light to show them the path home. Does that any of that resonate with you?
Yeah. I've been trying to adopt more of a dance with the darkness and bring it into light, as opposed to being combative.
Yeah, this is not a combative. This is really, we're talking about opening the heart. Well, this is a heart action. This is loving all those beings, all those lower astral beings, and those scary bejesus things, right, that go bump in the night, and on honoring them and saying, I understand that you have a job in there to wake up humanity, but I am your queen. I honor you, but as your queen, you need to respect me, and they will honor you.
I think also the chant that I was saying earlier, which I don't think you heard, and using the Ankh, the Sa, Sekhem, Sahu. And we wrote it down, I wrote it and it's on the show, and you put it on your hand and you do it as a mantra on your heart. Sa, Sekhem, Sahu. And so it will start resonating that your heart is here and it's light and it's full, and you're coming up from the underworld, from what we would say the Dwat. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because I kept waking up in the middle of the night the other night thinking, or almost saying out loud, I'm stuck in the underworld. How do I get out of here?
Well, you're on your way out. I mean, just by having this conversation,
right,
you're on the upward path, so you're on the way. And, I'm trying to find the words. Or I really want you to honor yourself. Not very many people can make that descent and honor and keep it together and do the work that you're called to do, and then walk back into the light. So I honor you for the courage of doing this, and to stay out of being a warrior, stay out of your fear, stay out of shame and guilt, and know that you're doing what you need to do. You're literally raising consciousness from the underworld and empowering it and bringing it into the light. It's a powerful, powerful thing to do that not very many people have the skills to do what you're being called to do. So
I agree. And it was Ishtar. She also, in the land of Ur, went down into the underworld and came back up. Look at the Black Madonnas, the same thing. They were darkened by going down in the underworld, and they came back, and they are illuminists now. So, yeah.
So that's your story, and you're in the midst of it, and you're on the upward journey, and we wish you all the best. And you know how to get hold of us. For Merlinda, if you need to have a session and do some more clearing, you know how to get hold of me. You're on the 7th day, you're on your way. You're going to be done before Christmas, so don't miss a stay. Keep clearing. It's going to change your life.
I will be reaching out to you in 11 days.
Fantastic. And don't forget that.
And yes, I would like to definitely partake and set the intention to partake in this trip to Egypt that you guys are percolating the plans for, because I've traveled many a times and know of some really interesting spots myself that I would love to kind of throw into the mix, if you guys would allow.
Well, we're honored by that, and we're looking forward to this journey. This will be a journey of a lifetime. All right, so thank you for joining us on the show.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Well, there we are. That was wonderful. So we're at the top of the hour, and we're over the hour, and thank you everybody that's showing up. And for you that are listening to the show after the fact, whether it's on the YouTube channel, the Academy YouTube channel, or whether it's being broadcast as a podcast, all the information on how to get a hold of us will be in the show notes. Until next week, same time, same place. Be healthy, wealthy, and wise. This is your host, Tyson Banning, an Illuminator, signing off for now. And thank you, Merlinda, for showing up and playing. A lot of fun. So
thank you, Tyson.
This has been the Healing Hour with your host, Tyson Bannigan, the Energy Detective. Join us every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. During the hour, you can join us live by phoning in, toll-free in North America, 1-866-369-7464. The Healing Hour is produced by The Wellness Show, www.thewellnessshow.ca, and sponsored by The Wellness Store, www.thewellnessstore.ca. The show is also sponsored by the Healing Arts Academy and also hosted on Facebook Live at the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy Facebook page. This is Tyson Bannigan, the energy detective that can help you clear any obstacles to health, wealth, and enlightenment. Call in toll-free 1-866-369-7464 next Tuesday to receive a healing during the show, or call in after the show to book a free empowerment session. 1-866-369-7464. Until next week, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.